Let's back together. Father, it sounds like everybody's having a great time tonight. A lot of good noise. I hope that's nothing in the world but just great friendship and sharing and being good neighbors together. We're reminded tonight that's why we're here. Because we're neighbors in a community. We're doing this together. The only thing in this world, Father, make neighbors really, really great together is when we do it all for the glory of God. So would you bless this meeting tonight as we just magnify you and just thank you, Father, for your blessings on us, for these leaders before us, the citizens of this community, and for our great nation. Bless America, Father, tonight. We're looking to you for all the help that we need. You're the only one that we can call on, and we thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Mayor, I have an amendment. I'd like to amend the agenda to include a discussion of the Ridge Hill Road right away. And included, I guess, at number 5. All right. Anyone else second that?
Motion has been made and seconded to amend the agenda to discuss Ridge Hill and place it between 4 and 5. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 3, approval of minutes from December 18, 2018 regular commission meeting. Call for a motion.
Make a motion that we approve minutes from December 18, 2018 regular commission meeting.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? And then I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 4, approval of the December 2018 financial report. Call for a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the December 2018 financial report.
I'll second the motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? And I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Due to the amendment, we will now discuss the Ridge Hill Road.
Mr. Mayor, since I brought this up, I would like to potentially ask Mr. Barr what precipitated the involvement of the city in this issue. I noticed that on October the 2nd, he made a telephone call to the city attorney as well as to the mayor regarding Ridge Hill Road, and I just want to get back to this.
Okay, Mr. Vice Mayor, the city was approached about that time by 2 property owners, individuals, Mr. Pennell and Mr. Burke. First with Mr. Pennell, he arrived to ask us if the city could do anything about a property owner who evidently was crossing onto his property. And in addition to that, he was concerned that there was some sanitary septic issues that was contaminating some of the streams or whatnot. But at the time, the property was vacant that he was concerned with. This was, and I'll try to be careful that I don't get all confused. The property that was previously owned by Rittenberry that eventually went back to the bank and then has subsequently been sold to a family named Campbell. At the time, I guess the property was under contract from the bank to Campbell. And Campbell was accessing the property to do improvements or whatnot. We really don't know what he was doing, but there was concern about the access to that property. And Mr. Pennell brought a whole bevy of information and surveys and documents and exhibits and whatnot. At the time, I wasn't aware of the history of the different court cases involving the property. because at some point evidently that parcel had been landlocked by the neighbors. So we actually, I believe Holly was part of that meeting with Mr. Pennell. And we left from there with just having been overwhelmed with all this information and data, and at the time, Mr. Pennell was making the argument to the city that we should have been involved, and et cetera. We stepped back and decided to talk it internally. Shortly after that, Mr. Burke comes to meet with us here at the city. And again, Holly and I sat with him and listened to his version, if you will, of the matter regarding access to the Wittenberry parcel. And provided very different exhibits, very different survey, and a different story at that time. And again, just like Mr. Pennell tried to argue the merits of the issue with the city. The city has not been a part of this case, to my knowledge, and has intentionally stayed away from it. It was after this that the city, and actually I think the mayor at some point weighed in and suggested that we identify where our right-of-way limits are. And so it was after that we decided to contract with OHM. While they are engineers, they also have a surveying division, to take a look at the documents that are out there, including an early dedication back in the 80s that seemed to imply a dedication of a 30-foot public way, although, and I won't get into the legal aspects of it. There were some meetings and presentations to the Sumner County Highway Commission that we had the minutes from. We also had some information from another document intending to convey portions of Ridge Hill roadway and the right-of-way. This was prior, I guess, to the city annexing those lands up there. So this was in the 80s that there was intent to dedicate what was a private road to the county at the time. Then in the 90s, after the city annexed it, nobody brought any issues to the city. It's my understanding that the city has paved that roadway almost up to Mr. Pennell's home, at least twice. It's always been understood by the city that the roadway extended almost to Pennell's home. Sometime in, I believe, 13, a gate was placed across the roadway, restricting access that was built by Mr. Pennell. The city paved shortly after that and ended the paving at the gate because the gate was locked, etc. I don't know that history behind it, but then we started getting phone calls from the realtors who had the Rittenberry house for sale, asking us if we could help them with providing access to a public road. And again, we took a very passive position on it. Said that by that time we had information on some of the court history, some of those documents, as well as what was provided by Burke and Pennell earlier about some of the early dedications and whatnot. So again, we weren't taking a position on it. We did ask OHM to look at all these documents and try to determine where that right-of-way is. They ran into a wall, essentially, and were not comfortable or able to establish that clearly, where the right-of-way is. At that time, they suggested we get with council for clarity on some of the court documents. And it was at that time, this was actually just calendar-wise, OHM encountered the difficulty of determining the right-of-way in early December. And in fact, I think Bob Pelosi here presented to you at the workshop in December that they had hit this roadblock and weren't able to move forward. And it was after that that we then asked Mr. Wheeler to weigh in and take a look at the documents and come up with an opinion. And it was after that opinion, later in December, that pretty much recognized that there was suggestion. Obviously, there was never a formal ruling on it, but we didn't ask Mr. Wheeler to make a ruling. We asked him to give us his opinion. And his opinion was that there is a 50-foot right-of-way that extends from Tenon Road to at least the shared corner where the gate is located with Pinnell, Rittenberry, and the Burke parcels. And in fact, there's an iron pin there at that corner. That pin doesn't seem to be in dispute. So all we did was look at where the court documents suggested the right-of-way limits were defined to. We didn't take it beyond that because it's unclear beyond that pin and Mr. Pinnell's gate and where the right-of-way is. Then subsequently last week, and by the way, we sent letters at that time to Mr. Burke and Mr. Pinnell requesting that they remove their fences from the right-of-way.
I have a copy of the one to Mr. Burke. Do we have a copy of the one to Mr. Pinnell?
I do have that. I didn't provide that. I can certainly get that sent out to you. I don't have a copy of it right now. But the request at the time was that please remove your fences. And Mr. Burke's fence at that time was recently installed, and it appeared to block the access to the Rittenberry parcel per what Mr. Wheeler suggested was the limits of the right-of-way and the connectivity of the Rittenberry parcel to the public right-of-way, to that 50-foot right-of-way, which in essence, I believe, gave about 10 feet of space in between that corner marker and the right-of-way limits. And at that point, we ended up getting back with OHM to come out and set survey discs in the center line of Rich Hill Road, and we also set survey stakes at 25-foot offsets on either side.
Where did you set it from? The center line?
From the center line is
the pavement?
Yes, sir.
Was not the right-of-way?
It's my understanding that the right-of-way is tied to the center line of the road, at least according to the documents that Mr. Wheeler reviewed. And so we went ahead and set those, but in the meantime, the family under contract to buy the Rittenberry house had taken it upon themselves to remove the fence that Mr. Burke had set within the right-of-way. That was a private matter. We were going to remove it anyway. At one point, Mr. Burke had offered to remove it, and then he changed his mind. And it appears that the Campbell family went ahead and removed it one weekend. As you know, there were a bevy of phone calls around requesting the city to take a position on it, and we did not. But the stakes on the Pinnell side are still there. We're discussing with Mr. Pinnell is scheduled to move his fence back. The stakes that were set on the Burke property have all been moved, or removed rather. They are not there. So at that point, here we are. There seems to be some misunderstandings, or some communications or whatnot, but the city did not take any position regarding the access of the Rittenberry property to the right-of-way. All we did was establish, on Mr. Wheeler's recommendation, the limits of what we believe is the right-of-way.
Bob, a couple questions. OHM, did y'all determine the center line of the right-of-way, or did y'all find the right-of-way?
What we read in the court summary was suggestive that the right-of-way width was defined by the center line of the roadway. That's not always the case. Sometimes roads aren't necessarily the center line of the right-of-way. So we had that discussion, but the specific language in this court summary stated that the right-of-way width was defined based on the center line of the roadway. So to establish the 50-foot width, we established where the center line of the roadway was, the constructed pavement, and pulled 25-foot either side of that.
What is the normal procedure for property owners dedicating a roadway to a county or city? Do they all have to sign off on it?
Well,
Do they dedicate, I mean, it can be done by condemnation, we know that, TDOT does it all the time. But when citizens wish to have a road, declared a county road, do they normally convey property or their property rights?
There's two principal ways in which you would do that. You could convey land in fee simple, where you actually give up all rights to the land and deed it over by written deed with needs and bounds description of the property being conveyed from a grantor to a grantee. Or you could provide an easement in which you retain the ownership of the land in fee simple, but you forfeit particular rights of use, whatever conditions that specific easement dictates. In the instance of a roadway, that could be access, public transportation through easement, and or utility rights or stormwater drainage, whatever the specific easement dictates.
Did you do a search of the properties involved as far as the title to the properties?
We did, as back to the, I want to say mid-80s, whatever was just available in the, I think going back 30 years.
Is there a common ownership of the, what we now call the Campbell property, that's the new owner of the property, I think, and one
Rittenberry property.
was there a common ownership of the Rittenberry property and the Burke property? Was Mr. Hudson the owner? Do you remember?
I don't recall specifically. My specific involvement was just kind of being in communication, being the city's point of contact with OHM, between the city and our survey department. We have a licensed Tennessee professional land surveyor who actually performed the work and did the research. I can answer that question, follow up tomorrow, but I don't have the answer to that.
In Rittenberry 1, there's talk of a 30-foot easement that was conveyed to Mr. Rowland. Did you look into that?
Mr. Rowland being the property owner on the...
Yeah, this is 1959.
Okay, we did not go back that far, that way.
Okay. So did you go back to the Hudson ownership? I guess what I'm trying to get at is, from the Rittenberry 1 Court of Appeals opinion, it states that Mr. Hudson had not signed the document conveying to the county the land running on Rich Hill Road in order to give the county 50-foot right-of-way. It's on page 3. Were you aware of that?
Is that in the document that was provided?
I'm not sure what was provided to you, but this is Rittenberry 1. This is the first case. The court went on to say, essentially there was 8 signers, but the Hudsons, Mr. Hudson, Walter Hudson, who had the common ownership of the Rittenberry property and the Burke property, never signed the document that conveyed it to the county. In other words, dedicating the right-of-way. Okay? The court finds essentially there's 3 ways to convey property to a public right-of-way.
Just to clarify what OHM did is we were initially tasked with identifying the right-of-way. We informed the city and this board that based on the information we gathered, we were unable to determine, based on some of the sightings that you were referencing, we were unable to determine the extent or the limits of the right-of-way. Following on to that, recently, we were provided a document by the city of a court summary with an opinion from the city's council that this clearly defined the right-of-way as 50 foot, and we were asked to stake a 50-foot corridor consistent with that document. We did not attempt to make any legal interpretation of the court judgment. We're not attorneys.
Yeah, and on page 11, Judge Barrett of the Court of Appeals said, in order to find that the road in question is a public roadway. The court had to determine that the property owners dedicated the land to public use and that the road was accepted for public use. That's on page 11. In further states, perhaps most significant, this is on page 12, perhaps most significant is the fact that the Hudsons, who owned the property at issue in 1985, did not sign the documents signed by property owners to convey the needed right-of-way to the county. If Mr. Hudson did not convey property for the right-of-way, would that property be within the right-of-way at this time in 2019?
That's a legal question, that's outside of my expertise.
Has there ever been any condemnation of this property to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge, no condemnation necessary.
That's all the questions I have.
Anybody else? The only thing I've ever said is, as a legislative or as a governing body, we should be able to tell every property owner where the road, where any road in our city ends, and we should be able to tell them what right of way that goes with that road. And if we can't do that, then we need to go to a court that can tell us. So,
The case, this case is Rittenberry too.
I don't care about the property owners. You got-
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the city like I brought up in our December 3rd work session. My concern, and I'm trying to stay out of this, like I said before, but my concern is that the city is getting involved in a situation that they may or may not want to get involved in, but now that we're involved, we're probably going to have to do something about
I
it.
have no desire to get into property disputes with any homeowner.
I don't
Of
know
what they own and what they don't own. But I do care about that road. If that is a city road, the city should be able to tell you where that road starts,
I agree.
where it begins, where it ends, and how wide the right of way is.
The point I'm making is that the center line of the right-of-way is not the center line of the road. The center line of the road is actually the center line of the easement that existed back in 1959.
I mean,
That measurement from there is incorrect.
we have the same case, I mean, we have the exact same thing going on over where I live. My property calls for the center line of the creek on the other side of the road, but I am no way stupid enough to think that I own that road. There's not a court in the land that's going to tell me that I own that road because it's part of my deed. That's my opinion. What I'd like to see us do is authorize Rob to file something in Sumner County asking where the road starts, where it ends, and how wide the right of way is. And just settle the issue of the road. Property owners can do whatever they want to.
I agree.
But we should know where our roads are.
I know the opinion that it will take a declaratory judgment suit to establish that. The way these cases read and the way all the things that have happened since 1985. You kept saying Hudson, the case refers to Houston.
Houston, how about
Yeah, well, that's all right, I just to make sure we're communicating.
Walter,
But he did not sign that agreement that others signed, and as a consequence, the court ruled that it was a private road on back, which means, and then at the end, this is Rittenberry 1. As a result, the court said that this is a private road. It does appear that Rittenberry is landlocked. And so, they said you have, he has the statute available to him, or to them, he and his wife, of private condemnation that I have against you, if we're contiguous and I'm landlocked, I can condemn part of your property so that I've got access. Well, they went to, back to court, on that issue. And the court, Mr. Pennell filed a motion for summary judgment that they don't have to use that private condemnation. It's called easement by necessity. They don't have to use that because they already have access to Ridge Hill Road. Now, where is not clear in these cases, but it would appear that it is at that corner of Rittenberry and Pennell and Burke. And in the second decision that was the first one was dated 2011. Rittenberry 2 was decided in 2015, and that is the case that the court not only referred to, but basically established the right of way and indicated that they've got 10 feet within which to work to gain their access. And nobody appealed that, and that, as it reads now, that still stands. That access has to be, it seems to me, at that corner where this fence was built, but that was the court. That was Chancellor Gray who referred to the right of way, and that was accepted by the Court of Appeals.
Well, Judge Golden, in that second Rittenberry opinion, actually stated that, talking about the law of the case, which you mentioned in your memorandum to Mr. Walker, the law of the case doctrine is neither a constitutional mandate nor an inflexible limit on the adjudicatory power of the courts. It is, however, a long-standing discretionary rule of judicial practice which is based on common sense. The doctrine does not necessarily apply when the evidence offered after remand differs substantially from the evidence in the initial proceedings.
Now, let me stop there.
And
There was no offer of any evidence.
There was no offer of any evidence at the trial level. There was a survey offer a month after. We know that.
And that was rejected.
It was rejected. And then here at the conclusion, Judge Golden states this case is remanded for further proceedings that are necessary and consistent with his opinion. And in the footnotes, he mentions the fact about the survey that was done. So apparently,
Nobody pursued it after that.
There was no reason to appeal it because it has been remanded, it hasn't been heard on remand, and it can be heard on remand.
But then nobody went back to court in order to get clarification from which they could appeal. And that wasn't the city. So the city wasn't involved in that.
I agree with you. So right now, we're at the situation where we can, instead of filing a motion for declaratory judgment or petition for declaratory judgment, we can intervene on this motion for remand. And it's up in Chancery Court right now. I checked on it yesterday. The file is available.
That'd be fine. We can file a motion to intervene on the case that was decided 3 years ago. 3.5, this is 2019. What the court will say about that, we'll find out.
I'm talking about something different from what I'm talking about.
No, we're not.
We're going.
It's basically the same.
Yeah, it's a matter of clarifying, and by intervening, I would ask the court which is the same thing, to establish where the right of way is.
We can do it by petition for declaratory.
Before you know where the right of way is, you gotta know where the road's at.
Don't argue that. But it was finally, well, you guys annexed it. So it's part of the city. Going way back, talking about something else that wasn't followed up on. Jack Green went before the county highway department and said we'd like for the county to keep this road up. And they looked at it and said, wait a minute, this thing's in 2 counties. What you need to do is go to Davis and see if they'll do their part and come back to us. And that never happened.
So what do we need to authorize him to do whatever now? Does it need to go to a work session?
Well, I think you brought this same issue up on December 30th work session, and I think we need to authorize Mr. Wheeler to file a petition for declaratory judgment, or in the alternative, to intervene on the motion for remand. Probably.
You can plead in the alternative, I'll probably plead both.
You making that motion?
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
And that way, and the whole purpose is to establish the right of way.
Not to establish the boundary lines
No,
or
not-
or the issue of access.
Exactly.
That's
Just to
to
establish
establish private.
Yeah, just to establish the right of way.
Is there a second?
Go ahead and second.
All right, motion's been made to allow the city attorney to file whatever declaratory judgment, whatever other was. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I just need a little more clarification. I'm just not understanding how we're doing this. Are you, you're not understanding?
I don't understand either.
I mean-
If the property's been surveyed out, wherever the surveys are, is where the property exists.
It ain't got nothing to do with properties, it's got to do with the road.
The road, exactly. I guess what I'm concerned about is that, I'm just trying to understand, how is it that we're intervening on these property owners and what's going on there with just how the road ends? I'm not understanding
There's some
that.
people say the road ends here,
Right,
there's some people say the road ends here.
okay.
That's the dispute.
But the Court
That's
of
the city
Appeals,
goes
on
out.
the second case, talked about a right-of-way that has never been established by action from the county or the city, but it was just a done deal according to the Court of Appeals. That leaves all kinds of questions that we need to
Okay, I guess what I'm also concerned about is how much are we spending on all this legal issues to figure out this road, and then, I guess to me, it just sounds so confusing. And why is it that evidently it's been an issue now for, what, 30 years? You said you went back 30 years, and it's never been declared as far as where it's at, and so how much more money are we spending to have this done? And will that finalize it, or is this thing gonna keep going?
Well, the goal on any kind of case that we talk about is to finalize.
Exactly,
Yeah,
but it hasn't, is what I'm hearing.
Well, that's because of the decisions that were written by the Court of Appeals. In the first case, they said you can use the statute of private condemnation. They went back and tried to do that in a separate case. And the court accepted the Pinnell's argument that really didn't have to do that because the Burks had access. Now, where that is not clear in that case. But they have to have access to the road.
Right, I know that.
All right.
I understand.
And apparently, the two adjoining property owners are not allowing that to happen. So the court's gonna straighten that out. We also, the first goal is to ask them to establish the right of way based on a Court of Appeals decision that is ill-defined.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question. I just want to make sure that the taxpayers' money, we're paying for all of this, we're paying strictly to find out where the boundaries are for the road only, and not anything in the case of what all these owners are fighting about as far as where the lines are on it. Or will this establish and finalize their legal information once we finalize where the road's at? 'Cause that's going to finish that dispute.
I don't know if we will or not, but that's not our goal. Our
No,
goal is
exactly.
to establish the right of
Where
way.
the road's at.
And that's all we're spending. I just want to make sure for the taxpayers, we're not going any further with it. We're not trying to settle disputes. We're only trying to figure out where the road is, where it ends, and what our responsibility is as a city. Okay.
And I'm not sure if you're familiar on the map right here, it's this right here.
Yeah.
Right, I understand that.
I didn't question
So-
what gonna be from right here to here, is that the road?
That's what we're gonna have.
Right. There's a gate right here, right now, and he says this is his road and his property.
And I understand, I agree.
Right, and there's Bert, there's the Campbells, and then this is Peniel, and it's this right here where the access. And if you can see, there's a driveway that used to go right here to access this house. The gate was put up, that is no longer accessible. Now there's a driveway here,
Right.
so it's, this access is off of our road.
In order
Right away.
to answer all, in my opinion, the Campbells need to file their own petition in this case we're establishing the right of way. You're asking the court to establish the right of way. They should join in and have the court once and for all establish their access point. Because they're going to get an access by court order, but it may take a court order to do it. So far, it hasn't happened.
Well, I just want to make sure we clarify all that.
You gonna vote? There's no citizen comments right now. You can stick around, there's some at the end, if you'd like to speak to him.
A lot of this is kind of been a little bit mixed up here.
All right, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
May I have your permission to read?
Item number 5, resolution 19-R-02, a resolution to repeal and replace resolution 17R-04 and amend the fee schedule for fire inspection, plan review, and false alarms. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve resolution 19-R-02, a resolution to repeal and replace resolution 17-R-04, and amend the fee schedule for fire inspection, plans, reviews, and false alarms. I'll second that motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, that's what I'm
First off, I need to know what we're amending, what we're changing.
Okay, well, I have talked to some of the business owners, and I guess what I'm looking at, I'm agreeing with Mayor Lassiter on this issue about not charging the initial inspection fee of the $30 that we have currently on record since January 1st, 2017. And then kind of look at as far as re-inspection fee moving forward, and as well as, what is that section? Ms. Holly sent us all the details. Have a review. Hold on 1 second, let me find it real quick. Yeah, so just to clarify, our fire chief has had to get his inspector certification, which he has done. So that is something that he has gone through the process of completing to make sure that the fire inspections are done correctly. And I know we've got some several businesses that we're going to be speaking here in just a little bit. But, so what we were looking at on these fees, we've got proposed that it's currently 30, and we currently proposed 30 the same. The annual inspection, if it's 5,000 square feet or above, 60 and 60, which is the same. But then if it's 20,000 square feet and above, we were going to put 120. But I think that, from what I'm hearing, and of course with those cities, they do not charge their initial inspection for the fees for businesses. So,
Well, we don't either. We don't charge an initial inspection.
for an annual
These are only annual inspections.
Right.
The initial inspection with a building permit is something that we've never charged for.
We charge them the plans, same thing.
I don't know about that. Is that included in the plans?
Well, I mean,
For a business license? This is a business license.
if you're building a building to start a business in, it goes to the plans review, and there is a fee for that, is there not?
I believe there is.
But a business license, if someone were to change of use, we don't charge for that inspection, fire inspection.
Correct.
Charge for permit.
No, we charge for a business license of $15.
So if I rent a space in a strip mall, and I have to have a permit to change stuff on the inside, there's no permit fee for that.
I don't know what permit you're talking about.
Change what?
You know,
If
change
there's
the
a change of use.
Change of use for
Then
a
you
business
can
license.
inspect, but as far as permit to the codes department or building department, unless you're changing structural, there shouldn't be any permit required.
So if it's being built out, if it's just a shell of a building and you're building out the business on the inside of it, there's no permit required for that.
Not aware.
But it was my understanding this initial resolution only pertained to annual inspections. Nowhere did I see anything about that initial
The initial.
inspection. We've done that and never charged a fee.
Right.
It just came along with business license. Which is why I chose to repeal and replace the resolution, because there were so many other fees in here. Alarm fees, that plans review. I didn't really know how to handle this resolution, so I just said repeal and replace.
Y'all know the problem I've got, and it's those 3 fees.
These three that are proposed,
Yes.
the 30, the 60, and the 120?
Yes.
Okay. But also just to reiterate, the fees were adopted in January of 2017, which is,
And that's
this
what I
fire
said
chief
at the work
has
session.
not.
I asked for a document that said 0 in those 3 spots, rather than have numbers in those 3 spots. So I'm gonna make a motion to amend the fee schedule to take the 30, the 60, and the 120 out and put zeros in their spot. And if we want to do the inspections, we can still do the inspections, so it just won't cost them.
So let me ask you this question, so when a property does have an annual inspection, let's say there are issues, how many days do you give them to repair those?
Based on the violation, it varies. If it's a major life safety, it could be 10 days, it could be fix this and I'll be back in 48 hours. It just depends, is it a simple fix, is it something that's going to require them to have a third party come in and fix the issue? So it's all case by case.
So,
Third party, 30-day follow-up, it just depends on the severity of the violation.
so when you went to get the inspection certification, so do you go through extensive training on all of that as far as how in-depth was that? I know I had several business owners wanting to know.
It was an 80-hour state certified inspection, and by the state, you said you are required to have your inspector to do the inspection. You can't go out and do them and then work on getting your inspection, you have to have it prior to inspection. So, I mean, it's 80 hours. And it's to enforce the code was out.
Well, the issue that I've had, and I've talked to a couple of people, is the fact that here we have doing fire inspections and trying to keep people safe and all that. And so, you know, I'm hearing one side that is kind of against doing any more inspections than we're already doing. But then at the same time, then I'm hearing here from the board that we're upset because code's not enforcing this and they're not doing this and they're not doing this. And so a lot of citizens are upset because we're not enforcing codes like we should. So we're back and forth on both sides, and it's hard to find that balance and what's fair and what needs to be for the taxpayers. I'm frustrated, I'll be honest, I'm very frustrated. Because it's hard to justify on both ends of what's making it work and what's best for everyone in this case. Not just this one, but just even in the codes enforcement, so.
We're not doing the inspections now.
I know we're not, I know. And so we've had it on the books since January of 2017.
Correct.
Here we are,
Correct.
2000, exactly. Now here's 2019, and now we're addressing this issue. So,
And from all the research that I've done, the inspections are not mandatory. There's nothing that says.
Correct, yeah, even inspections are not mandatory.
It's just go to the board
And the whole reason,
or whatever the
right,
fire chief wants to do.
in my opinion, the reason it was originally adopted was because you get a new business in, it has that first inspection prior to opening, it's required prior to occupancy. Everything's up to code. You never go back where no none of this is still safe. We have places that are open to the public. We have the means to go in and ensure that these places are safe for the public. And I feel like it's our obligation to do that as well. We've adopted the code and it gives us that authority to go in and ensure that these public places are safe.
right.
You still have the right to go and inspect.
Correct.
You still have the right to go and inspect if there's a complaint.
If there's a complaint, I have a right of entry per the code that we've adopted,
Daycares are inspected by the state yearly anyway.
which I can be on.
Churches would be another one from the cities that I've talked to, or one of the big ones to go inspect, to make sure that the egress is not blocked in case of a fire.
Any large assembly or any high hazard, basically anything open to the public. If we're gonna do them all, if we're gonna do one, we'll do all, whether they're occupancy low as 500 or 50. We have some small businesses that like the low 50.
From the people that I've talked to in other cities, the larger business, manufacturing, stuff like that, they don't typically concern themselves with them because they go through so much safety stuff anyway. We have safety officers on staff that file reports for OSHA and the state, so they don't typically concern themselves with those businesses. Plus, if once you get past a certain size, they are sprinkled, so it lessens the danger. So all I'm saying is I don't have a problem if we're going to do an inspection.
So if you do an annual inspection of up to 5,000 square feet in a business annually for $30, what is your time required to do that?
Varies on the business. I mean, it could be 45 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be 3 hours.
So if you go from an annual inspection of 5,000 square foot up to 20,000 square foot, how much time is required to do that?
I mean, it varies. If it's open warehouse and they have one office with 2 employees, there's not gonna be that much to look at. So it could be quicker than one at 5,000 square foot. It depends on what's being used for.
So would that be the same thing for an annual inspection over 20,000?
We'll look at the same.
The fee that we're charging for that or looking at $120, is that a 4-hour job, 5-hour job, or is it?
It's hard to put a time on it. But I mean, in my position, I'm not fee driven. I mean, I'm gonna do the inspection if the city wants us to do them, whether we charge or not. But I know the big thing was the pass-through cost for the time and the equipment. So, I mean,
So what we're doing here, if we zero all these 3 fees, then we're going back to the general fund to pay you.
essentially,
Yeah, taxpayers pay you now.
but that, I mean, I work for the citizens.
I will, man.
We've had these fees for 2 years.
I know.
We've done it too.
I know.
Did we have anybody that was certified prior to your certification?
Chief King was certified.
Did he do anything?
I think that's the two that you referred to.
Yeah, well, if you remember Chief King, he had a lot of hats. So
If we're gonna start applying law and code violations and everything else by the number of people we have in the building and the availability to go out and do it, just what our code book and trash, and everybody will come to it. The excuses that we're understaffed or we don't have the manpower, I just be careful.
So do we have the manpower now?
You look at it. That's, I'm the only one who can do this.
So let me ask you this, so because I've heard several of the business owners say that they're already being inspected. They're inspected for this, they're inspected for this, or they're inspected for this, and so now it's adding another one.
They're not being inspected by the city, for my safety. I can't speak for who they're being inspected by. I mean, if it's a restaurant, it'll be a health department, but it's not the city, so, I can't speak for the business owners.
Okay.
But they're not being inspected by the city.
Okay, but what about, so other cities surrounding us, are they currently being inspected for fire inspection? Do you know that?
Yes. No.
Not all.
Some do, some don't.
So as far as, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Millersville's 50,000 people, and they don't do it.
But Gallatin does.
Well, they do inspect.
Not
On a regular basis.
Not on every business. Not what we're talking about.
They do inspect. They have 5 full-time inspectors.
They do some in fire inspections, but I talked to the head guy over there, and they don't do annual fire inspections. They hit hot spots, is what he told me.
But they're doing an annual inspection.
Millersville outsources it. They take outside sources, and a business will send whatever they had inspected into Millersville. White House does them, but they don't charge. Portland does a few, but they do very few.
Okay, so,
Churches
but,
not.
but let me ask you this question. So is it really just, that, as far as what is the criteria for the business to be inspected in that case? Because you said only some are inspected.
They all had different views. They said what they felt was critical.
Yeah, but see, we can't do that.
Hendersonville's critical thing is churches, so it's Portland.
Is there another mandatory, there are 3 mandatory inspections. I think state requires churches, restaurants, and one more. That's only
They
three
carry
that I
the
found
same
that
one I
actually
know of,
requires,
but
if I'm not wrong.
they are inspected annually.
I would say educational facilities, healthcare
Yeah,
facilities, symbol.
But state does that, right? Ours are required in the city.
Educational facilities are done by the state. We're not an exempt jurisdiction. There's other cities around that are exempt jurisdictions that do everything. Anything in their city, they do. The large stuff, they have the manpower to do it, so they do it. We're an exempt jurisdiction, so the state would still come in. Hotels, motels, apartments, churches, schools, daycares, that sort of thing, they would be involved.
But also restaurants.
I don't believe restaurants.
Okay.
That's up.
But that's mandatory by state only, right?
Yes.
The only one that I know of that charges is Gallatin. That's the only one that I've heard of that charges a fee for annual fire inspections.
All right, can I ask this question real quick? We'll move on. If we did put these fees in place, what would that accomplish? How would that benefit the city? Will it benefit the people of the city, or will it not?
The fees aren't, well, like I said, the fees, we can have them or don't have them. It's gonna help with the cost of the software that we're trying to implement. And, other than that, I'm on the clock either way. Whether the fees are there or
No,
not.
I got you there. We roughly got 124 businesses this year. So it's not required to do an inspection for those 124 businesses, even by state.
Before our code is.
By our code it is. And when we put, I can't remember when we put the code in, what we even in here when we done that.
January 2017.
Yeah, that was just a few years ago. We did put one in there.
I see. And as well as it shall perform in the
Yeah,
aspect.
and that was 30 for the first and 60 for the second. And there's no more fee left then according to this. It's marked out, it may be in there for that time, but it's marked out now for this, if this amendment goes through.
Now, what
30
we're
for the first
discussing,
and 60 for the second.
just the fees.
Right.
That's all I'm discussing.
Yeah. So the question is, I'm assuming that everybody at this table is in agreement to continue annual inspections, but just not charge for them unless it's a re-inspection.
That's not even included either.
The reason I got a really thing, I'm for safety regardless. But we've got 124 businesses in the city, and this year you do 24, that leaves 100 you didn't get. Are you gonna start from that point on, or are you gonna come back again and get the first 24 again?
Well, I'm trying to, I'd like to get them all done this year. There's 50 weeks left in the year, and we've got 124. I mean, if I can get 2 to 3 a week done, and that's on top of everything else, that should be, able to get them all this year. But the problem is, there's not a database. We've never had a database, other than what we have in front of business license. We gotta get everybody in the system. The system we're going to do for pre-planning, fire inspections, there's nothing in it. So we've got to build that database, so it's kind of crucial that we do them all this year, or we make a very good effort trying to get them all. One of our volunteers is a former inspector for the city of Millersville, and his job's kind of flexible. He has offered himself once or twice a month if needed for it, so I'm going to try to utilize that. But other than that, it's me, Monday through Friday, me on inspector. But in a perfect world, 2 or 3 weeks, still better pace on our call volume. So that's the thing. I'm not going to start over next year back at the top of the list. I'm going to start off where we left off until I can get everybody. That's the only fair way to do it. And then once the database is, there's some that you're going to say, you know what, there's not a lot here that can be moved down as part of priority. But there are going to be some hot spots, some high hazards, large occupant loads that are going to need a little more attention. So we got to build the database first.
I think a lot of them, like the problem they have is they're inspected before they go into business, the building's inspected, their license are there, current, they're doing business, nothing's changed.
In a perfect world. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and you know, there's businesses that change ownership, and things are done, and the new owner might not call it. So it's kind of our obligation to go in and make sure that they have inherited a mess of something that's going to endanger public safety.
Are we an amendment on this right now?
I made a motion to amend to take the 3 fees out. Nobody ever seconded it.
Okay, it's been second. Listen, before we get into that, okay, I'm sorry.
The motion has been made and seconded to amend the original motion to take the fees out. Discussion.
Yeah, so that takes out first inspection 30, reevaluation 60, and the next time up is 120, those 3 are taken out.
Yes.
Okay, after that, if nothing's in compliance, for y'all to know, it's $150 per inspection. If you can't get through the first 3, if your compliance is failed 3 times in a row.
Where does it say that?
No.
Right here.
Don't say it on my page.
I think you're calling the second inspection $60, and that's not, it's a
Well,
square,
that's
based
a
on square
combination of all the
footage.
money, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay,
He's
that's-
talking about the re-inspection.
Yeah. After the first 3 don't go, then it goes city court.
No.
I get that.
There should be a charge for each re-inspection.
There-
We're not charging for first re-inspection.
That's what I'm talking about. It says 150 per re-inspection right here, so that's what I want to ask.
Yeah.
So it's 150 per re-inspection after those 3 are gone. So this would be the 4th, I don't want you to understand it, the 4th time you go to that business.
I'm not going to go for 4 times.
No.
Okay.
I don't know where you're getting the
We're going to be a quarterback.
Inspections will 5 times, that's what that is, so that's okay.
After the second re-inspection,
So there will be no
It goes to court.
re-inspection. At all.
It's proposed 3rd re-inspection to the court. Yeah, the padlock the doors, go to the court.
And then you go to court on that 3rd.
And just to reiterate, on a re-inspection, we're not doing a full inspection. If there's 5 issues for a violation, those are the 5 issues being addressed unless something's just out in the open saying, hey, here's another violation.
So basically what you're saying, you're gonna go in and inspect it, be for free. If that door don't have an exit sign, you're gonna give them 10 days, 30 days, whatever.
Whatever it is, within reason.
To fix it.
Yes.
And then you go back and re-inspect. If that sign is not there, then there will be a $150 charge.
On the first re-inspection.
Yes.
If that's how you all want it done.
Yes. If it's not, if it hasn't been brought up to date, then there will be a re-inspection charge. If you go back and the issue has been taken care of, it still should have been a re-inspection.
I can,
yeah, I agree.
yeah, I get,
I
because they're having to
agree.
pay, they're having to pay these
I agree.
issues Because the whole objective is not to cause financial hardship to anyone. It's
Exactly.
just to fix, it's basically a fix it. Fix these issues, I'll be back if they're fixed, and we're good.
Get your
Not-
taillight fixed.
Exactly. Get your exit, because some of those you have to order.
So the wording would probably need to be changed to, there's a $150 fee if you fail the second inspection,
Yeah.
or if it's not brought into compliance.
If you fail the first reinspection or the second reinspection.
Yeah, basically, if you haven't brought it into compliance. Like he said, he's not gonna go in and inspect the whole building again, he's gonna inspect to see what he found, to see if it was fixed or not. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we're zero now this year.
So let me just ask this question. Let's say, for instance, that a business owner is trying to come in compliance, didn't show what he's ordered to have work done within a certain time frame that we've given him. But let's say, for instance, that the contractor or whatever has not shown up and it hasn't been completed by a certain date. Are we going to extend, say, okay, you've proven that you are trying to correct the issue in a lot of time, but because of whatever, it has not been able to be completed, but here's the proof that it's being done, and then you come back and it's okay.
It would be a fail, and they would pay for reinspection. Just like if you called for a framing inspection and your framer was waiting on some part, but you already called for your inspection. If that inspector come out and it's not ready for inspection, then it would be failed, and you have to come back out.
Most of the stuff we're talking about is life safety. So his job is not to give the business owner 60 days to go buy an exit sign. You go buy an exit sign right down here at Win Electric, and it's very simple to put up.
But if we're talking to the business system, say someone's business system and their business is failed, and they won't pass for inspection, or something to that's an expensive fix. But if that's their only, if cooking is all they do and it's failed, then the business can't continue operating. So that would be a different situation. That'd be you're shut down until you can get it fixed and get us back in here. Let's say if it was a service station or a gas station that cooked breakfast in the morning and they don't have a functioning good system where theirs is failed or hasn't been inspected, you can't cook, but you can still sell fuel, groceries, that sort of thing. 30 days to get your system service fixed and back in compliance. I'm not gonna close your doors, but you can't be cooking breakfast anymore. So, I mean, it's, again, every situation is gonna be different.
I don't think the goal is to shut a business down or to penalize the business. It's just to fix the safety issues. I mean, the guy owns a gas station, the pump's leaking gas on the ground. That's a pretty significant safety issue. And
Or if your propane tanks are right next to your emergency fuel shut off at a gas station. If the car on fire, you need to go turn it off. You need to move your tanks. So it's things like that. But there's a lot of stuff that's easy fixes. Hey, look, open that exit door, move those boxes away from that door, move the stuff away from the panel, put some bulbs in the exit light. I mean, we're not talking, and I think I provided a checklist. We're going to take all those and combine them and make one master checklist.
take those chains off of those tank bars.
Yeah, take those chains off the training bars and that kind of thing.
All right, is there anything further?
I have a question on so it sounds like on the reinspection fee, so the first reinspection fee is free.
If they are compliant.
Okay, so it's the second reinspection that would be charged to $150.
Yes.
And then after that, it goes, it's cited in the city.
No, if they fail the first reinspection, there's $150 fee. Is that
Yes,
correct?
if they're not compliant.
They're not compliant after he's given them 10 to 60 days.
So the technical thing would be your second.
It's the second reinspection.
It's the second one.
Yeah, so I think that needs to be, yeah. So I think so basically you get one reinspection free. It's the second reinspection you start charging.
Yes.
Right, okay. That's what I wanted.
Because I feel have to be paid prior to requesting an inspection. Just like we did in the building department. If you fail, you have to come and pay that reinspection fee prior to getting an inspection back out. which encourages people to bring the violation to compliance.
All right, anything further on the amendment?
Other than you're gonna have to clarify what you're gonna expect, you just don't walk into the business and just go through the whole business.
Like I said, I provided sheets of all the different, for different occupancies that work in all business assembly. So we compiling a list of our own to address what we feel is important to the state. Because I mean, technically, you take that whole code book and be there all day for one business. It's not people. I don't know of any city that does that. So I've taken those inspection lists and I will create our own.
Mayor, just to clarify, on the resolution up here, I did put to repeal and replace that resolution and amend this fee schedule. So if there's any other fees on here, they were already in the other resolution, so I just brought them forward so we wouldn't have all these fee schedules floating around. So,
We're good.
okay.
I know we're good. All right, anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
Any questions on the false alarm? Because I know that was mentioned in the minutes.
Is that just for businesses?
That's for anybody, everybody. And again, that's, anytime someone has a residential alarm system and it's been malfunctioning, every time it goes off and basically initiates a response, it's a lot of taxpaying dollars on the road. And it's an easy fix. Call your alarm company and come out and fix it. There's no reason for us to go out to the same house 6-7 times in a month for a faulty smoke alarm. So that's why those fees are in there, is again to encourage the homeowner to have the alarm company come out and fix the issue, keep from wasting taxpayer dollars.
And there is no fee for the first.
Correct. I believe that's the second.
That also for the also burglar alarm too, same thing?
Yeah, I believe it's in there as well for the police department.
Well, I've had any issue problem.
Because I mean, it happens, and we take weather into consideration.
Well, what hours are time?
Within a calendar year.
Within a calendar year.
And it hasn't been a problem. There was a few, and they were made aware of the ordinance, and, it's one of those things, you got to mercy to the alarm company, so we try to work with the system. I mean, it's not hit the pocketbook, but it's 4, 5, 6 times, it's ridiculous. There's a lot of expensive equipment, our volunteer payroll, police response, EMS response, so this is one way to discourage that.
So this is included in the original motion.
Those fees are already in place.
I just-
It was on the agenda to discuss.
Only thing to discuss, okay, we're not going to vote on it, it's not in the original. That's good, makes it easy.
Anybody got anything else? All right, we're voting on the, motion to amend to take the 30, the 60, and 120 out, and make the first re-inspection free if you are in compliance. If you are not in compliance, it will cost $150, and the second re-inspection fee would also be $150. After that, you would end up in court. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor on the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, now back to the main motion. Anybody have any further discussion on the main motion?
I just want to know, like the inspections, like I said, is he gonna start, if he gets 24 and he don't get no more, then he starts back over the next year with number 1, or does he go to number 25?
Goes to number 25.
I have no idea.
Like I said,
What did he say?
we'll start at the top, and when we get to this year, we get to, and we'll start off where we left off next year.
And again, it wouldn't matter, there's no fee associated with it.
No.
We're in the process of compiling a list of physical businesses in the city, and then it'll be broken down into, like I said, high hazard, and not and low, which your churches are gonna be going up there. Because they're usually the ones that have violations, and just due to, they run off the congregation, so, on the budget. But those are usually issues where you've got faulty hardware, exit signs that burn out, things like that. But that's where the majority of people are sitting on, so racetrack, churches, those are gonna be the first ones right off the bat. Gas stations, industrial areas.
Any further discussion on the main motion? None, I call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Item number 6, first reading of ordinance 19-716, ordinance to rezone 7639 South Swift Road, identified as Ferguson County map 126, parcel 059.00, from residential R4 to residential R5. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve on first reading ordinance 19-716, rezoning 7639 South Swift Road from residential R4 to residential R5.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I believe the planning was only voted unanimously to approve that rezoning.
Go ahead. Nothing else, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Item number 7, first reading of ordinance 19-717, ordinance to rezone 7625 Darby Road, identified as Hunter County map 118, parcel 004.00, from residential R2 to residential R3. Call for motion.
Move that we approve on first reading ordinance 19-717, rezoning 7625 Darby Road from residential R2 to residential R3.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, the planning is already voted unanimously also to rezoning to parcel R3 on November 13th last year.
Any opposed? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Item number 8, citizens' comments. Anyone who would like to speak? Name and address.
Kevin Bell, West 48 Hill Road. And I know the whole lot of these facts have been tossed up and crossed up, and I know first of they trying to get a road working on the board, one of the strollers work over here. The road is year ago. 1959, we had USDA maps that was rolled out Chris's house, that, and John Oscar Sullivan testified in court under oath that that's where the road was. Recently moved the program to his tract land. This for the purpose, not dusting Johnny's house, so out this was going. Oscar, I'm sure you've heard that, I mean, he would like to say it's like he's just straight honest man. Jim Green testified that gate was where the stopping point was for the county. I've offered all the documents and different things to y'all, and nobody's going to take them, because I ain't expecting you to take my word for it, but this has all been hashed out before every bit of it, 90 or 60,000 bucks. I won Millersville ball back years ago, gave them nothing to do with it, and all of a sudden everybody's got an interest in it. So I felt like you kind of taking it out on me, and it's getting a little bit old, but every bit of these documents, every bit of this has been hashed out. 90 or 60,000 And Chris, he took his court 3 times, got thrown out of court 3 times, he took the appellate court, he lost that. He never has facts. There's no, and I'm not asking him to take more for it. I've opened the documents up. And this stuff about neither property owner will let Campbell's get to their property. I'm surprised you didn't speak up. You know that's not true. You've been over there. I remember at one time, I told you not to get a Chris permit for the fence that says it's public property. I've never tried to obstruct anyone from getting there. So I don't know why everybody's crossing up all the facts, and it's getting in my pocket, so I feel like there ought to be some compensation somewhere down the line. I mean, this is it. We're whipping dead horse. Every bit of this been hashed out. I bring all the documents over here.
There's nothing been hashed out for me because I've never heard of any of it. All I've asked is where our road's at.
Well, I've offered minutes of the meeting up there at the summer.
Nobody has it. Nobody.
Yeah, all they have is in the county executive's office.
Okay, well then the attorney will file it with the court and they'll render a decision and we'll know where the road is and we'll know where the right way is. That's all I care about.
See, the ironic thing is, if the road was where Chris would like to say it is, if the right way's over there, he can't get water at his house. My house water won't put meters in private property. No one on the north side of the road will even have water if what he said was established true.
Again, I have no idea. And as far as who owns the property and which parcel, who owns which parcel, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to know where the road's at.
Well, and that's fine, but I mean, I've offered documentation, like I said, I've said all along, and I hope that is supposed to get some expecting they take more work for it. You know, I've offered appellate court decisions, officer's testimony on
Where the road's at?
Yeah, the road I've offered a minutes meeting, it's in the county executive's office. Jack gave them the right of way so they could get water and mail out there. And the reason they gave both sides, Alex Houston, the predecessor of Christopher, if you go back to the original deed, it didn't come to the road. That's why he didn't have to sign it. Everyone, because like where Tim Corn's at, 15 foot, it was Jack's land, because the entire road, which officer testified, was in our tract of land. They went 10 foot past that, so that's why Sherwood Head had signed, which is Tim Corn now. Alex Houston's property never did. If you go back to when it was that original triangle, it never comes to the road. You can measure out all day long, it just don't. So, yeah, that's what I thought was continually looking at that horse. Then I had this letter from y'all about moving my fence posts. And I was asking Mr. Moore about that. I said, if I move the fence, these fence posts are 7 foot off the road. They're not obstructing anything. I'm going to smoke it, weed it, kept all that clean all these years. I was coming up 31W. If I got to move it, everybody's got to move their sign or use car lot and everything else. Everybody's using the right of way.
Again, I don't know. I don't know where the right of way's at.
Well, they put their flags out there. You can see the flags right out there, which, if what they're saying is true, and I'd like for y'all to hold up on your decision about that till we hash this out, because I'm not imposing on the right of way anymore than anybody is. I mean, every one of our water's running through it and everything else.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't want the city to necessarily do anything until we get a decision from the court as to where the road's at and where the right of way's at.
Well, I just rather than spend a lot of time and money on the same old thing. I mean, every bit of this is documented, and I'm sure.
Well, it won't cost you anything. We're gonna go to court. We'll pay those.
Well, it'll cost us, because I'm gonna get Bill Kelly to go back to firm represent us again, because he's got all the
That's
facts.
totally up to you.
It just, I don't know what it was already been documented, because like officers have to say that he swore under oath.
Do you have a document in there that shows exactly where the road's at and exactly where the right of way's at?
Yeah, I can bring one over here from the county executive's office. As far as surveys, saying it's 10 degrees this way, 500 feet that way, no.
That's what I'm asking for.
Yeah, well, and that's what everybody was testifying in court, because that's what officer's testimony was relevant to, and that's what June Green's testimony was relevant to. And court agreed. Also, if you go back to your county maps, it's been drawn that way for, I guess, like 27, 28 years. So at this point, it's going to be color title. I mean, it's just an established fact. And that's why the appellate court reviewed it and said this is where they would come in on that property. But I've instructed Campbell's from getting to that property not one time. If anything, I'm over there on night shoveling the gravel off the road for them, trying to help them out because they gravel over the road and everything else.
I don't dispute anything you're saying. There is no legal document that shows the city where the road's at and where the right of way's at. And I believe that if we're gonna maintain a road, we should know what road we're maintaining, where we're gonna maintain it to, and how big a right of way we have for that road.
I believe the way the county's had it drawn for that many years, and once again, if you did what Chris said, no one on the north side of the road is water. White House Water ain't putting me there.
The White House Water, they're a private company.
Yeah, they're not gonna put it, have to talk to them before someone get my meter bill, where they can drive over it. They won't come in private property straight up, and that's what it is. So Chris wouldn't have water, what else would north side have water? I mean, the whole thing don't make any sense.
Well, I agree with that. That's one statement, I agree with that.
It was closer, but every 9 years of this, you can bet, yeah, I'm out wore out with the whole damn thing, just don't make it. I mean, especially whenever you got documented stuff where people swore their oath and everything else, and you want to go back and read this whole that, because, and see, this problem Chris had when he's in court before, he's never brought an established fact. It's all hypothetical, crazy talk. He's never brought nothing and said, here's a document, here's a, that's before the LD, back when it was triangle. They measured it out and walked you to the road.
We're not bringing anything for any one property owner or the other. All we're asking for is where the road's at and where the right of way's at. If it's all on the left side of the road or the right side of the road, it doesn't matter. That's all the city wants to know, is where the road's at.
Well, and the way they marked off is logical, if you put that way, the way the water works out, Campbell's would get that property if it was.
And it's logical,
Yeah.
but I want court to say that's what it is.
They already have.
Okay, well then we'll get something from the court that's what it says. And we'll
Offer Mr. Barr documents, and he said, y'all wrote these own documents, I've offered all the documents, because once again, I'm not asking they take my word for it, I understand both sides of it, but I mean, these are all document facts, you know, like come back here. And that county road meeting, it's in the county executive's office, we know, maybe West had 3 days, sitting there going through paperwork, for some reason didn't get turned over to the board's office. It's in the county executive office, you gotta go through page by page by page. So, you can understand why people, even under college, spend this much money, but at the time, they leave my post whether said or.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't think anybody in the city's gonna mess with anything until we get a ruling from the court. Is that correct or incorrect?
No, we were moving forward with requesting the fences to be removed from.
How are you gonna require somebody to move something if you don't know where our right of way is there?
Mr. Wheeler gave his opinion of where the right of way is, and that's what we're working from, is Mr. Wheeler's opinion. And that's how it was surveyed with the stakes.
If we're gonna take Mr. Wheeler's opinion, then why do we need to go to court?
Because it's not a judicial determination, it is just a legal opinion, and there is a vast difference between the two.
I thought we just said that we wanted a legal opinion.
We did, and now you're asking for a judgment.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When I say legal opinion, I mean from a judge, not an attorney.
Well, the only resource that we had to come to an understanding of where we believe the right of way is was based on Mr. Wheeler's opinion.
That's what I'm saying. Are we gonna make people move stuff on a guesstimate?
That was how.
Or are we gonna wait and get a legal opinion from the court?
Our previous position up until now was they will move it based on Mr. Wheeler's opinion unless this body directs us otherwise.
See, this trailer down the end road, that's where 25 foot is, what they're using for a driveway, being the right of way. The neighbors, everybody else got asked us, how are you gonna cherry pick who you run around and choose who moves the post? Sounds coming up 31W, there's a 100-foot right of way on it. You got used car lots, gas pumps, everything else sitting in the right of way. So how you gonna come over here?
Well, the right way at 31W is state, and it changes. It's not the same all the way up down the highway, I can guarantee you that.
Oh, anywhere in town, but these are not eyesore, they're not obstructing traffic, they're not, I'm not doing anything.
You put in posts on there? Or you want to put in posts up?
I replaced the ones that were there, it was growing up with hedge and bars, and the posts on them were rotten. So I went down there years ago and I cleared all that out, because at the time you couldn't even see through there, it's a solid wall of bars and hedge and all that type of thing. So I worked on it forever, it was stumped out, cleaned it. They've never come over and mowed it, weeded it, or anything else I've been maintaining, which I've never griped about. And I've kept it clean, you can see through it, it's not an eyesore, and there's no way a trailer's gonna snag on it, so they're 7 foot off the road. What can I say, if everybody else is.
Is it fair that if we can ask them to leave the stakes that have already been staked out, and then we won't have them remove anything until we get the court's opinion? But can we leave the stakes and the pins there?
That's what
Because that's already been placed. But we
And
won't.
actually, only half of the stakes are there. Mr. Pennell has left the stakes on his side, but the stakes that were on the Burke Hall property have all been removed.
So do you have a problem in leaving the stakes?
No, if the horse is knocking down, that's out of my control, I have horses on pasture, but I left mine because I thought the law was, you wait and see with those markings.
These are not survey monuments, these are simply right-of-way limits.
Well, I left mine, I said he did throw his on the pile, which is his yard, his business, but.
What fence post was going to be removed?
These fence posts right here, it posts going to the sports country.
So that's on the right side of the road going down.
Yeah, yes, sir. And as I say, every one of my neighbors, including Christopher.
Well, and I believe that Mr. Pennell had offered, he agreed to move his fence post at one time, and then now he says he's not, so.
So my fence post to be the one that comes down, it just makes zero sense unless you just like
That new fence post?
well, I put them in, it was 2003, what was 2003?
My opinion is leave everything alone to get Jeff.
That would be my opinion.
I'm saying that, but Melvin said he said.
I agree totally. I mean, I just like to know when it was surveyed off, if he put his post on the line, and that was the line, and he put them posts there, and he got a survey proving that, then I don't know.
No, the original post, Jack Green or Roger Sullivan would put them in there, I don't know which one of the two did, but the original fence post they would put in there, said cattle and horses, different things also. The Saws Edge replaced fence is what I did, which I was reading the laws on that, and the way the state's viewed it in the past, unless I was causing undue burden or blocking someone access or something like that, they had no problem, and city, county or city isn't allowed to utilize the property unless it's designated just for whatever the easement was for. So the survey property is allowed to use it until that time, like you came on and said, we're gonna pour 50-foot wide road. It's good, we gotta move posts.
What is the reasoning to move the post now?
Yeah, I like that question too.
Don't know.
The reasoning to request to move the fence posts out of the right-of-way, as we understand it to be, is to free up that public right-of-way for full public use, whatever it may be. And the general understanding is that right-of-way belongs to the public, and the access and utilization of that right-of-way should not be restricted by private property, and including improvements, fences, structures, whatever it may be.
So is that the stance we're gonna take with every resident in the city?
We are beginning to take that position, yes.
So I'm gonna have to take all my fences down as well?
If they're identified to be in a right of
They ain't
way.
identified as in the right of way, there's no legal right of way in front of my house that's recorded, but they are in what I would consider the right of use right of way that a court would grant the city. Just as well as John has fences that's been up down here since the start of time, and I would assume that some of those are also in the right of way in different places. Are we gonna have him move his?
That was the direction that we were headed in, unless the board would like us to take it.
Only, in my opinion, only if we need the right of way for something. I see no need in moving a bunch of fences that's sitting in the right of way that's been there for 50 years. Now, if we're gonna widen Slater Creek and make it 100-foot wide, then John may have to move his fence. But to just go have him arbitrarily move his fence because it's only 6 foot off the road doesn't make a lot of sense. To me.
I'll take direction from this board.
I agree. I agree with the mayor said.
I think so too. I think we just leave everything just like it is right now, and then when we get the decision from the court, then readdress it.
Very well said.
What I was trying to show you here, that big box, I asked Water recently, put that in, you can see it's fresh dirt around
Yeah,
it.
they just put one in.
Yeah,
Put several in.
they kept dropping off the water meter, and the water meter snapped the cup and going to 990. So if I went there and proposed, I'm gonna have everybody driving on this stuff, it'd just be insane. But that was, if you go back to the county executive office, the purpose was for water and for mail, so that everybody could get the mail. And I've offered copies of these documents, I mean, I ain't taking nothing up, because somebody questioned it, you can always go back to county, verify that this really comes from you, I mean, I'm not.
Or would you say these light poles are in the right of way?
Oh, yes, sir, the electric, you know, all your electric poles are in the right way, because once again, the reason them poles jump across the road, they're on the right side of the road, and then they jump over the left side of the road. If you go to the USDA map, 1959, that road ran right by that brick house, which was Johnny Sullivan's house. And he asked Oscar if he'd move further into his land because the gravel dust was dusting Johnny Sullivan. And Oscar said, no further.
And just so you know, Oscar Sullivan is my grandfather. Johnny is my Uncle Johnny.
Yes,
So I've been all over that property.
Well, you remember all this, and he said that shed, that was Douglas Green shed that we own now at the end of our property, was the original studio, and I guess that gravel road at Grandma Johnny's house went to the back of that studio. And that's what, I was trying to, I didn't want to interrupt when y'all's voting, but the facts were getting a little bit twisted up, and everything's been hashed out, and it's been proven. I mean, these are legitimate people. Jim
Well,
Green's a good person.
What you're talking about may have been hashed out for the property owner. What I'm talking about has not been hashed out for the city.
Well, Judy Harden, which originally the county had this, and then they bring it over to the city, or how y'all process that, whenever the city of Millersville came along. Judy Harden saying, swore affidavit to the court, testifying exactly just the way it is too, Senator Road. So, I mean, if all that's been hashed, so everybody's just gonna revisit the same thing for $350 an hour.
Well, you can leave your post there, and if you don't mind, leave the
Yes, sir, I'll leave the, you can have the pictures you want. I'll leave my flags alone if they get knocked down, or something, knock them down or something. Because I thought the intent was for a cul-de-sac or something there at the end of the, which I've been requesting that for 3 years, 3 or 4 years, I haven't gotten that. The post office came to around, so I had all the mail for the field box, which I would be sent back to loss.
Well, that's something that I am concerned about, is the fact of getting fire trucks and stuff in there and not being able to turn them around. So, but I would rather determine where the road's at, where the right of way's at, and then we'll cross that street with a turnaround.
But, and Mr. Campbell, I'm sure he's still right here to tell you, I've done nothing to help him. And I honestly, I don't like the situation, because you knew the deal where we had horses not passed when the septic tank that got permitted, that
We don't permit septic tanks.
no, when the EPA and the health department came out, he says there should have been permitted, he says he wouldn't permit, but once they permit them, it just kind of like a nasty monster-y stuff with it. So, I mean, even though I hate the situation, I've done nothing but trying to be better to them, they'll tell you that if you ask them, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate y'all for making postal, and if you want any documents, I believe y'all got my phone number, I will bring and provide, I mean, I actually had cases and stuff, cases, I didn't get it's legitimate documents that you can cross-verify with someone, make sure I haven't read something.
Do you mind when, make it clear we didn't really do that? The city manager was saying you were moving earlier.
It doesn't matter, he don't have to move the post. And it's recorded, the meetings are recorded, so.
Thank y'all for your help, let me know what you're doing, man, and that's why I came over here, and I some facts, we're a little bit turned upside down.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, can I get a clarification before we move on? It's my understanding that the board will recognize fences as they exist within the right-of-ways, and they may remain there. I'm assuming they can be repaired as well, but just not moved further in. Because I'll remind you that recently the commission approved the prohibition of fences in right-of-ways and also certain utility easements. So it would be my understanding that existing fences will be allowed to continue, but new fences in those public right-of-ways and easements are prohibited per the ordinance that you approved.
Yeah, the new fences, I have no problem with, they should be out of the right of way.
We have a timing issue that I need your direction on. Mr. Berg installed his fence at his southeast corner prior to the adoption of the fence ordinance. Would he be allowed to replace that fence that was damaged or removed by a private party?
That is a civil deal. Until we know where that road is, don't have an opinion. It's all civil.
So Mr. Berg could replace the fence that was removed in the right of way.
If that's what he wants to do, I mean, that's up to him. All I'm saying is, I don't know where the right of way's at. I can't tell him whether they can put a fence there or not. I don't know where the right of way's at. Boy, Jim don't know where the right of way's at. Nobody has a document saying where the right of way's at. Nobody knows where the road's at.
Well, I can provide what Judy Harden gave to the board, the road commissioner in Sumner County, and the appellate board fund that we're able to be able to access it from that corner right where they're coming across where most of this.
Again, I don't know. If it's not something that a surveyor can read and go over there and put a stake that says, this is the road and this is the right of way, then we don't have anything that says that.
The city's attorney has offered an opinion based on the history of the matter. That's all we have.
Then we need to request the attorney to go over there and drive some stakes in the ground so he can tell us where the road's at. But I don't think he's gonna do that because he's not a surveyor. He may have an opinion, but that's all it is an opinion. I would much rather have something that's concrete. The court says, this is your road, this is your right.
And I believe that's the direction you gave Mr. Wheeler.
That's what I would rather have. All of the land disputes, getting in at one spot and out of another one, that's civil. They can fight it in court, or they can fight it wherever they want to fight it. I don't know.
So are we going to enforce the ordinance prohibiting fences that was adopted by this commission?
I don't know what you're asking. I have no desire to go tell John Reynolds he's got to take his stance
No,
out.
you've been very clear about fences that are existing. Let's call them grandfathered, if you will.
I mean, I have
I'm
a
talking
fence
new
that runs
fences.
along Winston Road that's probably 6 or 7, 8 feet off the road, but it's up on a bank 12 feet above the road.
And we're not questioning that, and I understand your direction clearly. I'm asking about fences to be placed now, moving forward.
They should be out of the right of way, per our code.
All right.
Is that?
Is that
what
for
y'all
new
do?
construction?
Huh?
New construction.
Yeah.
I think Terry went through that years ago.
Per our code, they should be out of the right of way.
Grandfather.
Thank you. All right.
All right, is there anyone else that wants to speak?
I guess y'all covered most of our
Name and address. Yeah, the sheep got no.
Yipper, and I'm speaking, I guess, back for business, 1262 Lake, Little Highway, last halfway. Several other business owners in here was concerned about the fees being charged for the inspections, because we do fall under the small business exemption motion, we're not inspected by OSHA. I have that information right here. Another question, I guess, my wife got a few minutes ago, he said he had a check off this basically. Would that be open to the public? Open to the board? If he gets out of the board, inspections, and we'll go yourself.
That I don't know.
Should be on the draft, you request, you would like to question.
But I would rather not copy.
Well, I don't think those are the ones we're using. I think he
No.
said he was gonna put one together
But
based on that criteria. That includes a lot more, what we're gonna do.
now, this is for each of the different types of businesses.
Right.
And the checklist for each, but Brandon did mention he would be creating a single standalone uniform
I think most of it is pretty much safety, and from what I understand, it's gonna deal with more getting people in and out of buildings and extreme fire hazards or chemical hazards, stuff like that.
I mean, in a nutshell, ingress, egress, emergency elimination, exit signs, in your case, kitchen, safety suppression system, bid system functioning, properly cleaned, inspected, that sort of thing.
Okay, can I ask you a question about this? You're talking about the fire suppression system. Are you bringing all the equipment to get us into it, taking the filters out, and go in and check on the switches and everything there? You gotta bring your plywood, plastic?
No, I won't be climbing in any system.
That's all we can expect.
The thing we look at is fusible links, remove your grease up your vents, and make sure, one, that they're there, two, that they've got new links in them, because if they're built up with grease, they're not gonna function.
That's what I thought about, you guys.
No, it's the business owner's responsibility to have that system cleaned and tested annually. And documentation will be requested and has to be provided.
I had High Harper as mine.
Right, so they have a form that they can submit directly.
But it's, they're getting back pretty much any time now. Maybe another 30 days, they're getting back, so.
And they have, the software we're looking to go into has a website that they can submit their inspection forms directly to it and upload. So if you have a suppression system that's been tested, you have a fire system, sprinkler system, any kind of system that requires annual inspection, they have the documents that they can submit directly to the company, and it will update to your
your time.
Okay, well, I mean, that's why I was asking, because in order to get my system out where you can actually see that, you gotta get it on top of all my equipment. So you-
Right, yeah, I'm not gonna follow people's grills and fryers and follow
It's
this.
gotta be done all the time, it's closed and the grills
Right.
are cool. You gotta make it,
Oh, I understand.
you gotta make it a point to do it, you can't just walk in and say, I'm gonna do it right now.
Right, no, anyone's inspection, or fire inspections will be, I will show up and say, I'm gonna do your annual inspection. It will be your normal hours of operation, I'm not gonna show up and closing, or first thing in the morning while you're trying to prep for the day. It's gonna be normal hours of operation, and I'm gonna show up and say, I'm here to do your annual inspection.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, as long as everything is, car extensions, everything, as long as they got a sticker or a tag on, they just inspect.
and if you want a copy, so what I'm using is, the IFF has fire inspection checklist on their website, International Association of Firefighters. They have listed several, and you've got copies of them. Fire departments from all over doing inspections for a long time, so they compile the, kind of the hot check sheet, or whatever you want to call it, hot list of things to look for. But if you want it more in depth, you can Google the 2015 International Fire Code, and there's a lot of versions online that you can get on there and view. If you've got questions, call me regarding anything specific. But each occupancy, each type of use is gonna have different things I look for.
Tom actually did an inspection on mine, I guess it was documented. I volunteered asking to come do it.
Okay. And you should receive a copy of it. The way our new system's gonna do is, I'm gonna come in and do your inspection, we'll get all your information, and also make sure that the business owners have business license with the city. Because there we do have some businesses in the city that are operating illegally because they're not licensed. After the inspection's done, your information will be put in, your email address, you'll have an inspection, a copy sent to you of the inspection. I can print it on site, and then if invoicing is required for our reinspection, it'll be sent to the front office for invoicing. So, I mean, it's all done right there on the spot, and that's for the re-inspections, because I think the direction we're going was no charge on the initials. Right. But all of that's be emailed to you, all my findings, code reference, so if there's a question, like, why do I have to have exit lighting? It automatically references that code in the IFC. So it's kind of it's easy for me, it's easy for
If you go back to a building that you're leasing, it's not your building. So they fall back on me, they fall back on the personal building.
Depends on what your contract says.
Your lease
With your landlord, and right on what it says.
with this, you may break it down, have to pay for $400, you know what I'm saying?
I guess you have to pay the first $400. And I won't get into that. It's kind of a civil issue between the renter and the owner. At the end of the day, I'm just looking for compliance. So if you got to hash it out with your property owner or who you're renting from, if it takes longer than the time given, then I have to come back out for reinspection. If it hasn't been fixed, we fail, we'll go that route. But ultimately, who owns the building is responsible for it at the end of the day. Same for codes and International Property Maintenance Code, and we enforce it. If somebody's renting a trailer or someone's renting a home and they have an issue, ultimately it's the property owner's problem, because it's their property.
Oh, well, you know, personally, my experience,
What now?
I'm on Bridgeline Street,
What's your name?
First Street, so. One question, you know, we've got several businesses that here in the city limits that are connected to each other. Like, in the one that I'm at, there was a cookie that dug out, there was a Mexican restaurant. There's 5 buildings there. And what if one fails on one end?
It's that distance.
Just that distance, it doesn't affect any of the rest of us as far as being closed in, shut
I think
down.
everybody's thinking more of a building inspection. This is not a building inspection.
You know, fire inspection.
It's a safety inspection. It's life safety issues.
Okay.
Like if you didn't have an exit sign, or you didn't have,
Or if you had a 2-hour firewall between you and the next occupancy, and there's an 8-foot hole being cut in it, yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah.
And both businesses would be closed. But that's, just because they don't have exit signs in apartment A, doesn't mean B, C, D, and E is going to be shut down.
Okay. I just want to make it clear.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Chairman Stewart is also 1380. We're expecting every year we're gonna get insurance for safety and everything. So why should we be respected twice? right now, we're paying 2 water runoff bills, called the state and the city. So why should we be paying twice or something?
You're not gonna be paying, there's no fee.
Why should you expect, so we are gonna expect
Who does an annual fire inspection?
insurance company, they want us to have insurance, you ain't expect, you gotta be bonded and everything.
Okay, well, I mean, that's
private
their requirements, it has nothing to do with the city. The city
Can they
requires
not,
it.
could he not give them their fines?
Okay.
All right, we've been there 59 years.
Yes, sir.
My lights probably ain't good as your lights, so why should I put a better light, we can see the, and everything, we're working and everything, so why should we change our lights just because you think we should?
What lights are you referring to?
Inside the building.
I don't care what kind of light you have. Emergency exit lighting is what I'm concerned about. The exit lights that are illuminated,
Yeah.
if it's required, that's what I'm talking about. You can have whatever kind of lights you want. My main
Well,
thing,
you know,
like I said,
my big problem is being in the city, we've been there so long, everything. I started with a fence, it's always something y'all bring up that's ridiculous to me. You know, I don't even think you're even gonna write on my property personally. I mean, as long as the insurance company said we're safe, and we got insurance and everything like that, and we're bonded, what's anybody got any business to tell us what to do?
are you open to the public?
Yes,
Then it's my business.
why?
Because it's my job to ensure the safety and well-being of the citizens of the city.
All right, what about the insurance company? That ain't their job?
Their job is to ensure their assets.
They're a private company.
They can care less about Joe Blow. That's my job, is to come in and make sure if somebody visits your establishment, that they're not gonna get killed, but they're gonna be able to get out if there was a fire. That's my only reason I'm there. I'm not there to see how you keep your tools organized or your paperwork. I'm there to make sure if somebody enters your establishment, that they'll be able to exit if there's an emergency. That's the only reason I'm there. Not how you conduct business.
But I got my own opinion about that too, I just don't think it's right. I mean, you know, I don't think it's right somebody business as long as we have somebody come in there and try to tell you what to do. I mean, especially when we done to start with, get provision bonded every year, have to pay all that money. State every day, check everything, check our insurance, check everything. And everything is fine. And then you gonna come up there and say, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Why? Why should I be out the money to pay your salary that you don't even do business with us anyway?
There's no fee.
What is it, fail?
That means there's a life safety issue in the building.
Well, whose opinion is that?
State fire marshal,
All right, what gives them the right to tell me what I'm safe from?
state congress, state legislation.
If the insurance company says I'm safe, that'll be good.
State fire marshal,
Insurance
Government
companies
is
are
a-
private business.
state fire marshal works for the Department of Commerce and Insurance in the state of Tennessee. It's their job to ensure that general public, when they're entering an establishment, regardless of what kind of establishment it is safe. There is a expectation of safety for everybody that enters every building, anywhere they go. If you go out to eat, you've got an expectation of, if there's a fire, I'm gonna be able to get out of that door that says exit. Well, whose job is it to make sure that there's not a dumpster behind
I
it?
disagree with that.
Yes, sir. And that's the only reason I'm there. It's not, again, it's not to tell you how to conduct your business. It's to make sure that if my family was going there looking for something, and a fire broke out in the shop, that they have a way to get out. That's why I do what I do.
Well, you know, everybody's own opinion, I don't agree with it, but I told you my opinion, what I feel about it.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, I just don't, I'm sitting one year, I just don't like anybody telling me what I gotta do, and I've been doing it 59 years. So, I mean, I don't think it's right.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Jeff, Monday, 1650 Highway 31W. I would like to ask if there is a backup person being trained for this new data that's going to be downloading everything. Because if the current person leaves, like past people have left, there should be someone in place right now to take that place and keep going, so we don't have to start over again. And that's my question, is that person employed?
I believe the backup that you're referring to is going to be in the software.
So what about the training though? I mean, you're spending $2,900, annually to train too.
That is in the,
That's the license agreement, software agreement.
So there's not a second person getting trained right now?
no, let's say Brandon wants to leave and go wherever Brandon's went. And we put his position out to hire somebody. There are certain qualifications that that person would have to be able to be in that position. No, we do not have anyone else in the building that's currently trained at the level he is. But I do not believe White House does, nor does a lot of other cities. They just don't have the resources to do it. The software that he's talking about is going to help with some of the documentation problems that we've had in the past. That's what we're trying to get.
Yeah, that's what my concern.
And I understand your concern, kind of feel on that. But as soon as I arrive and start my inspection, I get all your information. If you're the business owner, get your name, number, copy of your business license, all that gets put in my tablet. As I'm doing my inspection, any violations, I'll either make you fix it real quick, hey, move the chairs, lock the door. If it's something that needs to be reported, I'll put it on the report. At the end of the report, you get a copy of it, and it's automatically uploaded to the system. So, and it's owned by the same software company that we have all of our bookkeeping up front with. So there's redundancy there. So it's not like I accidentally get deleted. Off-site storage, all that logs, all that trails. So if someone goes in and deletes something, shows they log in. But again, it's all backed up. It's nothing kept here. It's all in the cloud, so to speak. But that's why it's a recurring cost every year for storage and updates for new code records. We adopt new code and go in and change it.
Is that the same thing taking place with the building inspections?
It's similar, it's a different software, but that was something that I implemented when I was with the codes department, was because Excel spreadsheets don't work. If you open one of those viruses that takes all of your data and encrypts it and wants currency Bitcoin, it's gone. So we realized that wasn't working. So that's why we implemented the new software. The inspection's done, it's logged, there's an audit log, there's a trail, shows who's been in there, timestamp. Any inspection is logged with the pictures. Same for me, I can take pictures of the violations and put it in there, and it's there.
What about public access?
They're not on the system, there's not public access. On the code software, there's an inspection request, so we can go online and request or file codes, complaint, or compliment. It's on our city website. The software we have, due to the license agreements and honestly the amount of information that's in there, if somebody wants to know who's on running that business, they can go they can do a freedom of information request and then figure out whose business. But your information is secure, if that's what you're concerned about.
Thank you. Anyone else?
That's Ginger, 1207 Highway. Mine kind of goes from what he was saying as far as inspections. If you shut somebody down and then you get sick or something and you can't re-inspect, say it's 2 days and you're laid up or you're in a funeral after it, what happens to the business that's shut down? Is there going to be somebody to come out there and inspect while the said person is gone or out or quits or whatever?
I would say we'd probably fall back to what we do in other situations, is ask the neighboring city to come do an inspection.
But if a business was shut down, it's not going to be for an accident, like, it's going to be a serious issue. So,
right.
And there's so many what ifs and variables that, I mean, we would try to accommodate, whether it be reach out to a municipal inspector or White House inspector and say, hey, can you do a courtesy, maybe give a temp CO until I come back, or, it may be an issue that it's just black and white. This is what needs to be fixed, look for this, and get it fixed, and I'll probably still show up just because at the end of the day, it's on me.
Right.
But I mean, we would, not gonna say, hey, you know what, I decided to go camping, I'll be gone for 2 weeks, and you gotta keep, because I realize every day you're shut down, you're losing money. So, and again, we're not trying to cause financial hardship, just looking for compliance.
Okay, and you said earlier that it's technically the building owner's responsibility.
That's
it's on our list. The building that I'm in, the people are in Florida. If it's something that is their responsibility, is it going to be my responsibility to get in touch with them and let them know what needs to be done and enforce it? I guess I would have to because my business is going to be shut down.
It's your business, so like if I had a business, and let's say he'd come in and said, well, your exit lights are not
I'm
working.
talking about something that might be a bigger thing.
What kind of business are we talking about?
I have a powder coating business. I have chemistry.
Uh,
And here's my biggest concern is there's other buildings or businesses that are vacant in my building, and I don't know if they're connected.
That's gonna affect your business.
That building is so old, I don't know. So I guess I'm concerned if something comes in and it flows over into me.
Well, it's like Curtis, we're talking about Curtis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so different than when the meatballs came.
And I guess I need
In my
to-
time, it was required of the system.
Sure.
It didn't affect anybody else, or the powder coating place, or the market,
Mhm.
did not affect the operation of that. So you can't cook until you get a hood system.
Right.
So, I mean, it's your decision. You wanna have a business and make money, you put a hood system in. If you don't, then you don't have a business.
And I guess ultimately we need a list, you know, a standard that you're gonna expect from us that would help answer my questions.
I'm assuming it's the
I mean,
Fire code.
It's in the 2015 International Fire Code.
Okay.
The final, what I'm gonna look for is not 100%. But again, it's not gonna be the same thing for every type of business.
And I
The
would
restaurant will focus more on the kitchen versus, you know, there's many things in different businesses.
I had a competitor that we kind of tried out business. They were shut down by the fire marshal in Madison County because the inspector was not familiar with the things the powder coating knows. They don't have to have doors on them, and he required them to shut them down for 2 weeks. 2 weeks for me to be shut down would be detrimental.
Right, and I
So
can't speak on
then-
his, but he ultimately has, I mean, he's the authority.
Right,
He's the
but I
authority
get
jurisdiction.
my equipment inspected every 6 months, which cost me $250 just to say. So are you gonna be inspecting my equipment?
If you have inspections from a licensed company, then I will accept your inspection records. Same for a hood system. If you have a hood system that's been cleaned for a restaurant, we accept it, but it has to be from a licensed company.
Sure.
It can't be, you know, John Smith,
Well, I
and
understand.
it has to be a licensed contractor in the state of Tennessee.
Okay, fair enough.
And I would hope that, since this is something new that's starting, and I know Brandon pretty well, I believe he's gonna be more on the lenient side to start with and try to, educate more and maybe be more strict a couple of years down the road.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Carrie, 74 Little Highway at the library. I brought December's and, I brought December's and January stuff. I guess to start, for November, our total checkouts, we had 1,336 books go out, 48 programs, and 354 people attended those programs. We were pretty relaxed in November. The holidays were starting. Anybody else on? So, we didn't have any big programs. We did our usual story times. Crafty Adults is fairly new. It's just adults getting together.
Hey guys, if y'all want to talk, y'all gonna have to go out there. She didn't talk while y'all was talking. So if y'all want to talk, go out there.
Our Crafty Adult program is really getting off the ground. It's just one Saturday a month. Adults get together and craft. They did watercolor coasters, I think, in December. This month they did vision boards. Next month I think they're going to do some sort of sewing craft. And we got really good feedback off of that. In December, we had 1,197 checkouts, 34 programs, and 362 people come to those programs. Our biggest event was Santa and Mrs. Claus visiting the library. We had about 100 people show up to take pictures with them. So thanks, Santa, for coming through our busy season. We had our New Year's celebration, so if you have small children, we were in the New Year at 12 p.m. instead of 12 a.m. so maybe you can get some sleep.
I could have made that.
I didn't make that.
It's getting harder. So far this month, we've really just started getting ready for the summer reading program. This year's theme is the universe of stories, so we're going to outer space. We're also going to start reaching out to the community for partnerships, so if you have anybody that'd like to sponsor a reader for the summer, we'd love to hear about it. We're also, in the month of January, we're replacing library cards for free, so if you've lost yours, or donated, we are giving them out for free instead of the $1 fee that usually comes with it. In February, we've got a craft sale and a bake sale coming up. So if you need a Valentine's gift, we're going to do like little bouquets of book flowers. Stop by. And other than that, we're very thankful. I wasn't here in December, so I can say thank you for helping us have a great year, and we're excited to continue to do on that.
We appreciate everything you do.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, city manager's coming.
Yeah, just a couple of things. We had in front of you on the table a letter regarding member training for the planning commission and board of zoning appeals. And we just need to acknowledge that you did receive that.
We did.
We did, I'll go to. Gotta sign something.
No, I don't think you need to sign anything, I need to acknowledge on the record that you did receive it.
Yeah,
I did.
Okay.
You get one there?
Look at it.
Everybody got one?
And I did want to announce that Blake Riley, our new police officer, graduated from the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy on December 20th. So he is now training with our department. I think he's on midnight, so you may not see him for a while. Or you may, I don't know, but he's the newest, and he's doing very well. I did reach out, emailed each of you, and I heard back from 3 of you regarding Andrew's work schedule. For Tuesday and Thursday to change to 11:30 to 4:30, and if that's okay with everyone, that's the way you would like to proceed. Okay. Just on Tuesday and Thursday it's going to change.
As long as you get the work done.
Right, okay. And then lastly, I wanted to let you know, Sumner County ECC, there is a meeting scheduled with the Operations Committee tomorrow, and that will be Mark Palmer, Chief Palmer, and Brandon will be at that meeting. The Executive Committee has a special call meeting on Friday at 1 o'clock, which I will attend, and it is to possibly take action regarding the current situation with everything that's going on. So I'll email you as soon as we hear something. So we're still staying on top of it. It hasn't gone away, it hasn't got better, but hopefully we're coming to a new resolve eventually. So that's all I have.
All right, Commissioner's comments. Milton?
About your situation, you talk about the central dispatch system, correct? Well, I've seen on news where Wilson County, all that, they just introduced theirs down there. And I just wonder if everybody's seen that. Well, they just put it into effect, and I forgot how large a area it was that was concerned down there. So I just wonder if they're going to go through the same one thing as Wilson Street.
Well, we know there's growing pains. We know there's growing pains. We just never anticipated, and either one of them here to address it. Obviously, they know what's going on. But we're not getting what they promised. And they know it now, and they're trying to work to resolve the issue. So, that's all I have.
Nothing. Yeah, you're talking about that, Milton, there's some cities in this county opting out on that. And it's been the process now this past weekend that the director is packing her bags.
Well, there's no city is opting out of it at this point.
I don't think the ones that are in it can afford all that.
You can't, no one can. That's not an option right now.
I'm talking to somebody up in the county.
Which cities are opting out?
It was like, gosh, I don't remember which one it was. It's up east, northeast, northwest of us here. Westmoreland was one, and there was another one. That's what county talking about, the county.
Well, they have discussed it with their commissions, but no one
Yeah,
is
they're
able,
discussing,
financially
I know.
able to
I
opt
totally
out.
want them out completely.
Well, I think we all would like to be out of it, but it's not an option
I
financially.
don't think financially the cities can
I don't
opt
have
out.
that.
They said on news that one business down, one city down there that was saving them $350,000.
Am I getting out or?
No, that's they we get in.
I don't think it's a question of what it saves. I think it's a question of what that there is no way we could afford to equip, not to mention.
Well, it was, we just did when they told us about 911 equipment.
Well over $1 million.
Just for 911.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think opting out is not an option.
They won't do it, they won't now.
They just gotta fix it.
And I think that the issue is there's a lot of people that have left over there, and if they can hire, the staff that's needed, or keep the people who's there, and likes working there, then some of the
I
issues
think
can be
Andy knows how
resolved.
somebody else to take over the direction of it.
They're gonna get it worked out.
Yeah, they're working on it.
It'll take some time, but they'll eventually get it worked out. Anything else?
No, sir, no.
The only thing I have is, I did request you to put the software on to this agenda for us to discuss for the fire department.
Oh,
I had asked you
Yeah.
to wait.
yeah.
So,
It hasn't been purchased yet. We
well,
haven't done it
is
yet.
that something that we need to discuss, whether that's gonna be purchased, now, or do we need to wait for the work session, or how do you want to move forward with that? After talking with the fire department, I believe the software is necessary, not just for the inspections, but mainly what I would see the need for is the pre-planning that they do.
I think at our last work session, didn't we agree at that time that we could go ahead and?
Yeah, but after a conversation with you,
Yeah, we had some issues.
and I talked with Holly, and it was kind of agreed that we was gonna wait and kind of get the opinion from the board, because the money's there, but the budget still has to be amended.
No, it doesn't, no. It doesn't have to be amended, but, yeah, I was under the impression we weren't sure where we were going with fees, so that's why we didn't move forward with the software.
Okay, so
And I apologize for not doing it.
And I think,
No,
I'm like the mayor, I think the software is necessary, and we should move forward with the software.
What we had talked about is we don't anticipate using the full budgeted amount for the volunteer fireman pay. So it's still, the money is still going to be available within the fire department, and it doesn't require a budget.
I thought you said it did.
No, it did
Still in the
not.
budget, money within the budget.
But we brought it to your attention because we weren't, the upfront cost is going to be around $9,000. Just the annual cost is
So you can
$2,900.
buy
So
it out of
the fire department,
the
yeah.
pay
Well,
versus equipment?
as long as our bottom line does not exceed our budgeted amount, we're fine.
Okay.
So we'll still, it'll still be purchased as equipment, but the bottom line.
So you got everything you need?
If y'all are okay with us moving forward with it, then
Yeah,
we're going ahead.
but he's okay with his budget, we're 50% into, or finishing up his budget, so is he okay the next 50% if we go ahead and take the money out of there?
Yeah, he's fine because he needs a lot of more volunteer firemen, so we know that we're gonna be fine in that situation on the budget, so.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
To the adjourn.
Thanks.
All those in favor?
Aye. No, that's my copy, that was handed.
All that dog back.